What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Starting a Backyard Movie Business During a Pandemic. Now, we know COVID isn't what it used to be, but we're still technically in a pandemic, so let's just call it what it is. Look, this is really about starting a backyard movie business. And oftentimes I read the comment section, I get your messages, I even get some emails, some phone calls about, look, what should I do? I'm entering the business. I'm glad that you put your videos out, your content out, and I'm inspired by it, but I'm moving forward and I could use a little bit more help. I could use some more assistance when it comes to starting this business and how to generate sales, how to grow the business in a short period of time. Me, myself, I've only been doing this since July-ish of 2020. So we're coming up on 3 years this summer. But nevertheless, look, it's been great. I can't complain about the experience for myself. We are still making money. We're still growing. We've expanded into the Virginia Beach area. So we're no longer just in the Baltimore, Maryland metropolitan area or just in DC. We're expanding because this is a valuable business when you build it the right way. But look, I know you didn't come here to just hear about that. Let's talk about really how do you prepare for the spring, summer, and fall outdoor movie season. So let's get to it. How do you prepare for these seasons? What do you do in advertisements? How do you do it in terms of generating more sales? What about your equipment? What about schedules? Look, you need to pay attention to all these things, and I'll talk about them one by one, section by section. And I'll start with cold calls and generating more sales. If you haven't already done so, there are certain groups that you should always target with outdoor movie businesses, okay? One is PTSA, PTA groups. They're doing their planning usually during the school year around January, February. So some of them have already budgeted for the rest of the year. Some have not. It's never too late to put your name out there. Sometimes there are last minute cancellations when it comes to doing their own fundraiser events or doing their like family nights. And oftentimes what has worked for me has been working with these organizations to do outdoor movie nights for parents, teachers, and students. I did one for my school or my son's school. I've done some for schools in my neighborhood. So I would always say, start with your local neighborhood or wherever your business is, start in that vicinity within a 10 to 15 mile radius. Start in your own community. Why? Because it's often the case when you start in your community, people might know you. It could be someone from your community, another parent, someone from your neighborhood. Start in your community because you could be recognized and that could get your foot in the door. Maybe even your own PTA, PTS group that you maybe haven't gone to the meetings with. You might not be active, but you can still step in when it comes to this level of planning. So I would say check Facebook. Oftentimes a good place to search is Facebook. Most PTSA and PTA groups that I've worked with have Facebook pages. So I would say go through Facebook and see if you can find the pages, or just go to the websites. Usually they list who's the contact person, who's the president for the PTSA or the PTA group. And that way you have an email address, you have a phone number, you make your call, you let them know, look, I have an outdoor movie business. I'm interested in working with you guys for an outdoor movie night for the families this spring, summer, or fall. If they say they're not interested, fine, but this is the time to make those cold calls. Also, neighborhood associations. Again, neighborhood associations, block parties, neighborhood groups that like to just do outdoor picnics, cookouts, whatever you want to call it. You can infiltrate that group pretty easily when you price it correctly. Look around and think about how much money is spent and raised for these events and make sure you try to fit within the budget. But then you could take up most of the budget if you provide more. If you provide the movie, if you provide the screen, if you provide the popcorn, if you provide a bounce house, if you provide a lot, then obviously the money can just go to your company. So the more you have, the better. But again, the conversations need to get started. Make sure you do your research on who these neighborhood association presidents are. They change from year to year, season to season, quarter to quarter. It's not always the same person for 5 years. Find out who's the head of these neighborhood associations, what's the contact information, look for their email address, check Facebook again, maybe even Instagram, and start contacting them. Send them flyers, give them calls. It is important to make sure that you get ahead of the competition and put the idea in their heads that if they're going to spend this money, this is the best way to utilize the money and satisfy the highest percentage of people. Summer camps, they're very important. This is something else that you should try to infiltrate. It may still be a good time of the year to contact, the YMCA, different groups that have summer camps, because again, outdoor movie nights are great for summer camps that take place in the evening. Now, also, you can show movies indoors. Don't forget, even though you're an outdoor movie business, you should have the ability to incorporate everything you do outdoors, indoors. A lot of these summer camps have gyms. They have different buildings and facilities that will allow you to set them up as a theater. Your pitch is that I can do it more easily than you can. I can make sure to clean up better than you can. I can provide chairs better than you can. While counselors and everybody else is outside taking care of this, we'll do the setup, the cleanup, we'll pop the popcorn, we'll do the work for you so that they're comfortable with paying for the service. Summer camps, again, is an excellent target when it comes to preparing for the spring, summer, and fall season, because they use movies and events that attract a lot of kids and families. So again, it might be a family movie night for the summer camps, or it might be for the kids during the day. It might be for a certain presentation. Make sure you advertise and reach out to summer camps. And also senior communities. Don't forget, I've been saying this since season 1. Do not sleep on senior communities.
No!
I promise you guys, you can make so much money when you get in right with senior communities, because they love to watch movies, especially old movies. And when it comes to old movies, the catalog is out there. They can't go to the movie theater to see these movies. They can see these movies with you. Provide a way for them to be entertained. And I promise you, look, they're going to love you. It's all about reaching out, contacting them, sending them emails, making sure you call until you speak to the right person. Your goal is always to speak to the right person, the decision maker. And when it comes to this business, when it comes to activities, it's not difficult to find them. You don't need to speak to the president of the entire company. You don't need to speak to the top executive of the company. You need to speak with the decision maker when it comes to activities. So it can be an activities coordinator, activities manager. Usually in their title, activities is listed. Don't sleep on senior communities. It can make you a lot of money when you get in with the right organizations. And don't forget, some of these places are franchises, you can call them, where they have multiple locations. That's one place. And then, of course, the disabled communities, housing communities where people can't take care of themselves. That's another target. I told you about that. It's worked for me for quite some time. You might not be able to do that on a large scale. It might be small scale viewings, but it's still something that you can work out and make money with if you infiltrate the correct businesses and the correct associations. So make sure that you do target those. Again, just giving you the list again: PTA, PTSA groups, neighborhood associations, summer camps, senior communities. Target all of them to prepare for your spring, summer, and fall 2023 outdoor/indoor movie season. Okay, so the next part of preparing for your spring, summer, and fall season when it comes to outdoor movies is to focus on your equipment. You need to make sure, while it's cold, while business may be slower, if you're in a place that's seasonal, to upgrade your equipment. You need to make sure to get your projectors together, get your screens together, get your chairs together. Whatever you have, it's the right time to upgrade your equipment, especially outdoor equipment, because oftentimes during the winter, in the US at least, these items that you need are on sale. They're cheaper than buying them in the summer because that's when everybody wants them. So this is a good time to re-up and make sure to do an inventory check. If you're taking this business seriously and you're not doing inventory checks weekly, you're not taking this business seriously. You have to check, look, and know how many cords do you have? How many generators do you have? How many screens do you have? How many projectors do you have? How many speakers do you have? What's the number that's needed to meet demand? If you're going to increase demand with sales, it means you need to have the equipment. Also, when ordering your equipment, this is something that you should have down pat. How much time will it take for you to receive your equipment? Are you using Amazon and making orders where you can get it in 2 to 3 days? Is it going to take you 14 days? Is it going to take you a month to get a specific piece of equipment? Obviously, the goal would be to receive your equipment as quickly as possible. That way you don't have to buy it so far ahead of time when you get booked for certain shows. That gives you the ability to say, okay, here's a deposit from that show. I can use some of that money to get the equipment for the show. And then for the next coming shows, we have that equipment already purchased. So again, guys, make sure that you look at the scheduled time frame in which you can order equipment and pick it up or receive it. Now, of course, if you are going to your local stores to pick these things up, you can have it same day. But a lot of the equipment that's necessary, if you want to get it at the right price, you usually have to order it because you want to go into the marketplace, whether it's Amazon, whether it's, something you find through any other marketplace, as long as you're checking pricing, Facebook Marketplace, whatever. Make sure you look for competitive pricing. Make sure you know what equipment you want to have, but start upgrading well before spring, summer, and fall. Now is the time, if you haven't already started, to update your equipment and again, pay attention to delivery times. Okay, another essential step to preparing for the spring, summer, fall outdoor movie season is to make sure you know the pay-per-view and movie schedules. Pay-per-view and movie schedules. It's important to know what's happening because with my business, I don't just show movies. I also show MMA, boxing matches, pay-per-view events. I'll get the licensing right with Johan Promotions and different companies that will give me the rights so I can show certain events. This is a big deal because usually this takes a build-up when it comes to pay-per-views. You have to put up a lot of money up front. So you want to make sure you have a guarantee when it comes to how much money you're going to make. And that goes into pricing when it comes to tickets. That goes into promoting. If you're going to do a pay-per-view, you need to give yourself 30, 45, 60 days to promote at the minimum. 30, 45, 60 days. If you're already established, you're known as the go-to company for these type of events, fine. And I'm talking about if you're hosting the events yourself. Now, if you're just providing the equipment, that's a little bit different. Now you want to know that schedule just so you can advertise for those consumers. People want to have fight parties at their homes. You just want to provide the big screen and the equipment. That's also a great way to make money during fight season, during boxing season, during pay-per-view and event season. It can be a concert. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to make that event great or someone else wants to make that event great, they should think of your company as a way to make it great. People still don't want a number of people in their homes. They still like to be spaced out. Make sure you know and pay attention to not only the pay-per-view schedule, but also the movie schedules. When it comes to private home showings, sometimes we still have movies that premiere on streaming services, just like the live show with Chris Rock and Netflix. That's another example of, look, someone could have had a big party for the stand-up show at their home, put it on the big screen outside. Everyone enjoys it. Of course, March, that's when it happened. So it's a little cold here on the East Coast, but where you are it might be warm. Nevertheless, knowing the schedule of movies that are going to be released to streaming and also knowing pay-per-view schedule is an essential step of being successful in preparing for the upcoming season. If you want to make money, you got to know where people are going to flow to. What are they going to flow to when it comes to their attention? If you're not doing that, you're selling yourself short. Okay, so the next step you want to take when preparing for the upcoming season, you want to look at event locations. You want to look at event and rental spaces. If you've taken this business to the next level where you can host an event, so you are renting out spaces, you want to show your own, you want to create your own event, host your own event, whether it's a movie night, whether it's a music night, whatever the case may be. If you want to hold or host an event, now is the time to make sure you look for event space. There are several options wherever you are. You have things like the VFW, and you have also different ballrooms that are available. I mean, look for unconventional spaces because we're dealing with outdoors more often than indoors. It's important to kind of get your top 5, 6, 7 outdoor rental spaces within your mental Rolodex and your actual business Rolodex, because you want to create a relationship with these people if you don't own your own space. Now, if you have the finances where you can put up enough money to rent out your own space or pay for your own space, make sure that that investment is wise because the return on your investment might take some time to build up. And I'm not talking about building a literal drive-in spot, but I'm just saying if you want to do a setup shutdown area where you can invite people for certain events, for certain premieres, for movies, whatever it is, even if you want to sell it to independent filmmakers where you can actually show movie premieres, whatever the case may be, I would say right now is the time that you want to make sure to have the conversations. Do your homework and see what spaces cost more during what part of the season, which spaces cost less. And don't forget this. Look, don't forget including in your search people that are selling properties, commercial properties, because oftentimes if you speak to the agent, you speak to the business owner, you might be able to use their space while it's not being sold. Just make sure your reputation is great when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to different insurances and policies, because again, guys, look, they have a property on their hands that's not making money. So again, guys, make sure as you're preparing for the season, make sure you check out your event spaces now. Try to get maybe deposits out, rent them ahead of time, but that goes hand in hand with the schedules of pay-per-views and events, so you understand what's the best time to host events if you're going to do that with your business. And lastly, I want to talk about Facebook and Instagram ads. This is an area that I get a lot of questions. People are like, how often do you run your ads? How much money do you spend? I've put this in my previous videos. My budget for Facebook and Instagram ads has not changed over the last 2 years. I only spend about $15 to $30 per week based on the season. Again, I don't do this as much when it comes to the winter season here on the East Coast because it's not worth it. But when it's a prime season for me to get ready for spring, summer, and fall, I run these ads on a weekly basis. And they vary. They're not always the same ads, but they're targeted. Usually, when it comes to my targets, I'm targeting moms. Okay, I'm not going to feel bad about that. I target women and ladies more than I target anyone else because they are often the decision makers when it comes to events, when it comes to parties, when it comes to hosting things for family members, anniversaries, anything, birthday parties. Women are more often than men the decision makers. Now, that doesn't mean I don't advertise to men, because I certainly do, especially when it comes to pay-per-views, MMA fights, boxing matches, sporting events. Obviously, my sporting ads will go more towards men and sports fans, though women are sports fans as well, so I don't exclude them. I'm just talking about who I primarily target. I don't, again, exclude anyone. I just have a primary target based on data, and that hasn't changed. How you make your ads are up to you. I can't tell you how to make graphics. There are plenty of people out here who make better graphics than I do. But I can say this, giving as much information as possible without crowding your ads is very important. People don't want to have to do the guesswork. They want to know how much this costs. They want to know what they're getting for their money that they're spending. They want to know about availability and who to reach. Make sure you cover those on your ads and you should be decent. Again, I have somebody working with me this season that's going to help me improve my ads because as a business owner, look, we can't sit here and act like we're great at everything. I am not great with ads. They've been effective. For every $15 I've spent, I've gotten at least a $200 to $250 booking every time. Now my pricing is going up more like $300, $400, $500, but nevertheless, it's still working. So I would say Facebook, Instagram targeted ads still work. You should use them. Make sure that, again, if you're going to be working in certain regions, make sure to target those ads based on regions and based on who's the decision makers. You want to get right to the decision makers when it comes to who's going to spend the money on parties, events that will want your equipment. Make sure you get to them. Now is the time to run your ads. Different pricing based on what you feel works for you. I'm just telling you what works for me. And it's been working for the last 2 years. We'll see what adjustments I need to make after 2023. So there you have it, guys. Those are my recommendations to prepare for the 2023 spring, summer, and fall outdoor and indoor movie season. Just as a quick recap, making sure you're doing your cold calls with your sales calls. Make sure you have your equipment updated and you make your equipment purchases early. Know the pay-per-view and movie schedules. Look for event spaces and make sure to do your ads. Put your ads out there even before it's the season. Don't wait until the week of. The spring is here, summer's here. This is the hot season. Summer camps are in. Let me run my ads now. No, run your ads well before because you want it to be in their heads when it comes times to make decisions. So make sure you get your ads out there. Follow those steps. They've worked for me. I can't guarantee you success, but certainly they have worked for me. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Hey, put your suggestions in the comment section. Again, I don't pretend to be the know-it-all top expert when it comes to this business in this field. The more we share, the more we help each other. And you guys can help me. And of course, whatever I use, I'll make sure to report back here. I'll record it, let you know if it was successful or not. But these things have worked for me. I hope they work for you. Make sure you don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share. We want to grow this community. We have thousands of people. You may not know, but thousands of people that are moving into this field in terms of either side hustles or some people full time. This can help you regardless if you're doing it on the side or doing it full time. But it's essential if this is going to be your primary means of income. Again, guys, I appreciate you. And until the next time, talk to you later.